Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So coming to you today from the kitchen table, and I just want to go over some range results from the latest range session. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on this target, okay, just in general. And if you've never seen these targets before, I did a video on these a long time ago. But there you go. You can go to box2benchprecision.com. Order these targets. I don't use them the way they are intended to be used or set up to be used. This is more for load development and scope tracking. This is the 100-yard version. I think they sell a meter version as well. And so pretty much you can check your scope, make sure it's tracking properly, make sure everything's lining up. You can do kind of like a box test. You've got tracking dots, at various places. You can zero your rifle final group size. Once you're done with your load development, you can measure your velocity, cold, hot, all kinds of good stuff. You've got a section for a powder test, so you can just kind of document the loads that you're testing there with the powder charges, and of course all the pertinent information you just write down up there. And then if you want to do an overall length test, so it's a really good target that you can get a lot of use out of, a lot of functionality, but I don't use it that way, or at least I didn't on this range trip. I just needed something to shoot at. I needed dots. So went with this, and the portion of the target that we're actually worried about, we're not worried about any of this stuff here. This is what we're worried about. So you saw the title of the video. We're focused on the Remington 770 chambered in 7mm rim mag, and I am shocked, again, just completely shocked by the performance of the Remington 770. Again, one of the most budget-oriented rifles that Remington has ever produced, if not the most budget-oriented. That, along with like the 783 line, extremely budget-oriented rifles, and to have performance like this coming out of that package is just incredible. It definitely beats my expectations. So got the information written down here. This is with the Nosler 150 grain ballistic tip bullet. I'm using H4831 CCI 34 primers, and this is in some Peterson brass. That Peterson brass it's once fired. So what I did initially is I used IMR 4831, and go to the notes here. So I used IMR 4831 with this same bullet and loaded up from 59.8 up to 62.5. That's what I did to fire form the brass when I first got it, and I had really good results. In my opinion, for this rifle, it beat my expectations, right? A lot of groups right at an inch, a couple just under, but a lot, just overall, right? Everything was under 1.5 inch, and these are 5-shot groups. So I was very pleased with how it shot, and that was with the barrel making contact with the stock. And the way it's designed, it was not manufactured to have a free float barrel. So what I did after I shot, I put 1 box of factory ammunition through it, the 175 grain Federal Power Shock, and it shot okay, what I would consider okay for factory ammo. It was just under 2-inch groups. So I shot then I shot the 50 rounds with the IMR 4831, and again, everything stayed under 1.5 inches. So I was really pleased with that, and those results were very promising. So I came back, I free floated the barrel, I sanded down the stock, the barrel channel on the stock, got everything free floated. I went back and performed a second test with the Federal 175 grain Power Shock, a different box, but from the same lot number, and the groups tightened up quite a bit. Versus the 2-inch groups, they were down closer to 1-inch 5-shot groups with factory ammo. So I was really pleased with what the free float did in terms of the accuracy. Now, I wanted to go back and recheck, the IMR 4831 test that I did. The problem with that is I ran out of that powder after that test. There's just a little bit left, not enough to go back and perform this test. So I swapped over to something that I've got a few pounds of, which is H4831. And I loaded up somewhere in the range kind of the good groups that we were seeing over here with IMR 4831. I didn't want to push it too hard or, you know, get into a position where I was worried about pressure and all that stuff. So I was only jumping 3/10, started at 60.8 and then 61.1, 61.4, 0.7, and then 62. Now, what I will say about these two groups, because you'll notice they're only 3-shot groups, right? The rest of these are 5-shot. So the reason for that is because I only have 6 more of these bullets left. That's it. And so what I did, I went to the range and I started out, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna see how these shoot compared to the IMR 4831 test that I did. Now, of course, the barrel's free floated for this test, so it's not a direct comparison, but shot the first group and I was like, okay, all right, maybe the stars aligned, you know, the planets aligned, liberals and Democrats and Republicans all joined hands, sang Kumbaya, and it just shot. I got lucky, right? Well, then to follow it up with an even better group, and then another 5-shot group that was 3/4, right? And these are all, you know, 3 different charge weights. I was like, man, I really don't want to shoot the rest of these because I've only got 6 more at the house that I can load up. And I'd like to hang on to some of these for hunting season. And of course, between now and then, I'm sure I'll be able to find some 150s, but just as a kind of a safety blanket, we'll call it. As a safety net, I didn't want to shoot these. I just wanted to do 3-shot groups on these last 2. And if they were going to be something wild and crazy and open up, you know, or shoot, you know, some massive point of impact shift, and I was just going to go ahead and shoot them and load up the 6 that I have somewhere down in this range. But these are shooting very similar in terms of point of impact. They are slightly higher, but that's, again, if you just look across these groups, the distances that I hunt, or the distances that I shoot when I hunt, you're talking less than 200 yards. Any of these, that's a dead animal, no matter what. So yeah, I mean, I could take a different charge weight. I could load up 1 round from each charge weight and be perfectly fine, have 100% confidence going in the woods, just grabbing a random round and going and hunting with it. So that's the reason why I held off, and those last 2 groups are 3-shot groups. So now I've got 4 rounds that are already loaded up, 2 at 61.7, 2 at 62, and then I'll load up the other 6, you know, maybe just like at 61 or something, and call it done. So, you coming to help me make my video? He did, but it's okay. Stepdaughter's eating some birthday ice cream cake. But so that's why these last 2 groups are 3-shot groups, and then so I'll get the other 6 loaded up and call it good there. So that's where we stand with the 770. And then also on a different target, I don't have that in here right now, but I will do some follow-up videos testing the Hornady 162 grain SST in this rifle, because I loaded up a few rounds. I loaded up 5 to test in my uncle's BAR, the Browning BAR that he has, the Safari version, and they didn't really shoot that well. The first 2 shots I took, they were, you know, probably 3 inches apart, maybe not that much, but pretty close to that. And so I took the last 3 and shot them through the 770, and the group that I shot was very similar to this one. So, I mean, you're talking, you know, 3/4 of an inch with those 3 shots. So that's just kind of a good indicator that that rifle is gonna like that particular bullet and powder combination. I was using Ramshot Magnum in that test. So I'm gonna go back, load up several more and see how they shoot. But that's where we're gonna leave it. So yeah, you guys can see here, load information and then group size. But that's it. So we'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a good one.